Hello, I am Mr. Tie-dye, and this video I'm going to show you how to tie a peace sign. So to start with, I've turned the shirt inside out, I've centered it, and I do have a video on centering the shirt if you need to know that. And then I've pulled just the front of the t-shirt out, and I've marked my center spot here on the t-shirt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the bottom of the t-shirt while holding this center spot in place, and I'm going to fold up until it's about a 60-degree angle here. I've done this enough times that I can kind of judge that. If you need to, you can use a protractor and lay it out and get your 60 degrees on there. It doesn't have to be exact, but that's about the angle that I like to do my peace signs. I fold it up once, and then I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it back down, smooth that out, and then I'm going to take the top of my t-shirt and I'm going to fold it along that same line. So I'll hold that center spot, fold that down. So now I have 3 layers of t-shirt, and basically those 3 layers are where the lines in the peace sign are going to be. So I want to have all those 3 together. The next thing I need to do is mark my outer circle for the peace sign. And the way that I found is easiest to do for that is I take washable marker, I tie a string to it, and then you're going to figure out how tall up, and I'm going to put this down just a couple inches from, let me center that a little bit. I'm going to put this a couple inches from the top here. So I will just measure out and then hold that center spot with my string, and then just use that to guide my washable marker. So now I've made my little circle, half circle, quarter circle, whatever you want to call it. And then I will take this string off of here. I just tied a slip knot, and I will go ahead and keep that loop in this string for later if it wants to open for me. And then I'm going to fold right along this line here. So I'll usually fold going towards the 3 creases here. This is where I have my 3 creases, and I can feel that this here is my line where there's an extra layer here. So this part here is what you want to make sure that as you fold, you don't pull this part of the t-shirt, this top layer, back from there. You want to keep those all lined up. So I usually do my about 1/2 inch accordion folds, and I'll just move right along that line, making sure that I'm grabbing all of the layers of the t-shirt. And once I get to this thick area of the fold, I'll fold that in. You can see that. And I'm keeping this line as straight as possible on the top. And those last few folds are going to be a little bit thicker just because there's more layers of the t-shirt. Once I have that all the way done, then I'm going to take that loop that I had earlier from my pin. I'm going to put that on and tighten it up just enough to hold those creases in place. Well, if my slip knot wants to slip on me. Once I have that tightened up, I'm going to just set my string out of the way, and then I'm going to take my 3 folds here that I have, and I'm going to fold those right next to this same line that I have. So I usually will hold those, the tip with my fingers, just to make sure that that doesn't come undone back here. And then I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to fold that down, and you just have to kind of work with it. It's not going to fold nice and flat, that first one, but then I'm just going to fold each one of them after that and just make a nice accordion fold. So that's what your peace sign should look like at this point. Now, since I've left this string attached, now I can wrap this around, and I'm going to straighten this out so that these 3 folds kind of line up right at the edge of this line that I've drawn on here. And then I'm going to go back maybe an inch from those folds here, and that's where I will tie this off. So I'll wrap that around just a couple times to tie it, and then I'm going to wrap around to the middle here, right where I had my line drawn. I'm going to wrap around there one time, and then I'm going to go the other side of my line. So basically what I've done is either side of this line I want about 1 inch or 1.5 inches, depending on how big of a peace sign you're making of fabric. So I'll highlight these lines where I've drawn them. But basically I'm going to go either side there. And like I say, this here is where I put my string now. It is right on those two lines, and this is the center. So this part here in between the lines is what is going to be my peace sign. So I will finish tying that off, and then I will do another video showing how I dye this. And once I get that tied off, I'm just going to take the rest of this, and you can scrunch it up or you can spiral it. And let me zoom back out. The rest of this t-shirt, you can scrunch it, spiral it, fold it, whatever you want to do with it. It's kind of bulky just because of the various layers. And like I say, I will be showing you how I dye the peace sign in the next video. Dye the peace sign. So this is one we tied up earlier. So remember, this was the center line and these were two outer lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the outer lines, not the center line. That's going to be right in the middle of the peace sign. You don't want to do that one. So I'm going to put a line right along these two outer edges, and that will be the outside edge of the peace sign. So I'm going to go right along that edge there. Put some black dye down in there. Let me zoom in a little bit closer there. So I'm going right along that line. And I'm using thickened black dye, so sometimes it takes just a little bit for it to soak all the way in. So I'll leave it sit there for a bit. So once again, that's going to be the outer part of the peace sign. I'm going to flip it over, and I just redrew the lines on the back side so I knew where to put my dye. Sometimes I'll give it a little bit of a tap on there, and that'll kind of help the dye soak in a little bit faster. And then you want to choose a color for your peace sign itself, and I'm going to choose light green or bright green here. So I'm going to color all the way in the middle here. Right up to the lines. And as I'm working, I'll go back through and I'll add more black dye to that center spot there. But this here is the actual lines of the peace sign and the legs of the peace sign. And then this here is going to be those center areas, the two little triangles at the bottom, and then the two lung-shaped pieces at the top part of the peace sign. So I'll put a different color in there. Let's go with some turquoise for the middle of the peace sign then. And once I do the reveal video, you'll actually be able to see which each part is on the peace sign. Right now I know it's a little hard to tell where everything is going to show up. But it'll become obvious, and then it'll make it easier when you're dyeing your own peace sign if you want to make different adjustments on how or where to put your colors. So I'm going to go ahead and add another line of black dye on here and let that soak in good. Put just a little bit more of the green. Remember, you got several layers in here, so you want to make sure that a lot of dye gets in there. One way to do it is if you squeeze on it with your finger. Let's zoom in just a little bit. You can see the swampiness. That's what I mean by swampiness, is that liquid that puddles up as you squeeze it there. And I got black dye. I keep doing that. Let's flip it over and we'll put a little bit more. One more coat of black dye on the top here. And then you got to pick a color for the rest of the shirt. Also, if you want to have a color highlighting around the peace sign, you can do that. So I'm going to pick yellow just to kind of highlight and make the peace sign look like it's glowing. So I'm just putting just a thin line right around the peace sign, and that's just going to be right around the edges of the sign. And then for the rest of the tee, oh, let's see. So many choices. Let's go with aqua. So we'll dye the rest of this, and then once again, when I get ready to open this up, I'll do a reveal video, and then after it's washed, I will post a picture in the comment section. So if you have any questions, you can either message me or you can just ask them in the comment section. If there's a design that you would like to see, you can put a comment or message me, and I will take requests as I can do them. Thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. It's MrTieDye. Have a nice day. Now it's time to cut the strings. This is something some of you have said is a little scary with scissors, but as long as you're careful, you can get under. The kite string isn't that tight, so I can easily slip my scissors right under this kite string, snip all the edges, and pull the string out. This one here is going to be the peace sign. So we'll get all the string off, and then we'll open this up. So here is your peace sign. And there's the peace sign.